There we go. So, ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce myself. I'm Alex. I'm going to be the Master of Ceremonies this evening. Oh, this is going well already. And I'm about to introduce the time of the day that you've all been waiting for. It's time for the speeches. So it's now time, if you're participating in any speech-based sweepstakes, to start the timer. And I'd like to start off by introducing our first speaker today, a man who's got possibly the silkiest football skills I've seen. At the stag do, he's putting everyone to shame. It's the father of the bride, Adolfo.
Hi. I'd like to talk today about the two most important people at the wedding. The bride's father No, decirle que me saca el momento, si no. I say the bride's father and the groom's father-in-law. That's the man. No. That's the man that has to remortgage the house. But first, on behalf of my wife Mirta and on behalf of Ben's parents, I would like to welcome all of you today on this wonderful day. It's like English summer weather, right? Fantastic. A warm welcome, a special warm welcome to the people that flew from Argentina to come here today. Ashi's uncle, Gustavo, and family. Ashi's grandma, Maria. And my mother-in-law, right? Now, soon you will see how much she can eat, talk, and dance. And all at the same time. Now, she doesn't speak English, so I'm going to translate it to her in Spanish. María, eres fantástica. I would like to thank Ben's parents, John and Carol, to adopt Ashelen as part of their family. At the recent Ben's stag do, John and I agree not to mention that we are champion snorers, although I think I am the loudest. Carol, I'm not sure if I'm going to invite to our home again. She is an excellent table tennis player. And I am a sore loser. Ashelen. Ashelen, the daughter's name means smiles in an indigenous language in Argentina. And this is what I wanted for her to carry through life. Smile at her achievements, smile at difficulties, but most importantly, smiles at her dad. And most of the time, and most of those smiles, I didn't have to pay for. Ashi, I'm not going to tell you that you look amazing today because everybody can see that. But I would like to tell you how beautiful you are inside. You are very loyal to your friends, you are very helpful to your classmates, and you have always defended me against your mom. That continuous practice allow you to become the defense barrister that you are today. Your mom and I are very proud of you. I am even more proud and glad because I can still count with your free legal services. Now, we can all see, Ashelen, about your tenacity, about your discipline, about your dedication, about your ingenuity, about your intelligence that you inherited from your dad. And also what you inherited from your mom, your beauty, and your stubbornness. And that look as well. Now, I must talk about Ben. I met Ben for first time at the Olympic Park. He was participating, representing the university at triple jump. He didn't break any records. However, he jumped far enough to impress Ashi. At that moment, I felt that was love in the air. So I did what every modern father will do. I Googled him. Unfortunately, there was no information about Ben on the internet. It was like it has been wiped out by the MI5. But as he told me that he was a math teacher. So, for the first time when he came home, before that, I bought a book called Unresolved Mathematical Problems. And he's still trying to find the answers. In these 5 years, I managed to know Ben quite well. Even he lived at our home for only 2 months and 1 year. I took him to Japan to see our favorite Argentinian football team, River Plate. And during my stay in Japan, I managed to learn 4 words in Japanese, while Ben managed to learn 4 words in Spanish during his stay. But I would like to thank Ben for his honesty, for his help with the Anglo-Argentine Society, but most importantly, because he repaired the screen of my iPhone twice. And he asked me to pay for the materials. Ashi Ben, I would like to thank you very, very much to allow me to organize a surprise honeymoon for both of you. Although I'm not going to give away too much details, you know, Ashi, that you are departing on Monday morning from Heathrow Terminal 5, where you, Ben, you are departing on Tuesday from Stansted. As you can imagine, it's high season. I couldn't get 2 tickets to the same place. But I'm sure, Ashi, you are going to enjoy the sunshine. And you, Ben, you are going to enjoy working in the kitchens. But you are going to live a long life together. So that doesn't matter, right? Before I propose a toast, before that, I would like to give an advice to Ben. Ben, you are marrying my only daughter, Ashlyn, the barrister. Learn to lose an argument gracefully. And you will have her forever. So now, I would like to join me. Let us wish Ashi and Ben a long and happy life together. To Ashi and Ben.
Thank you.
Yo la pongo.
Well done. Brilliant speech. Brilliant.
Yes. Now we are going to see a video. Now we are going to see a video that contains a lot of messages from people that were not able to be here today. So, I would like, in case you cannot see properly the screen, there is another screen in the other room, but in case you cannot see this screen, if you can move your chairs in a way that you can see the screen, because some flowers may be obstructing the view. Are you okay if you want to move? Because that will be the main screen from this. Are you ready? Yeah. Here we go.
abrazamos todos los 4 abuelos, nos pusimos muy contentos.
Sí, hola Ben, ¿cómo están? Acá desde Argentina, qué lejos que estamos. Les mandamos un beso gigante, gigante. Disfruten este día.
Muchas felicidades, por cena.
Hola chicos, quería desearles lo mejor en esta nueva etapa que hoy inician y también desearles que puedan formar una hermosa familia juntos. Desde Buenos Aires les mando un beso enorme y un abrazo.
After that video was made, Ashlyn continued to thrive in London, achieving a place at Tiffin Grammar School. Despite moving to a new school, she always had time for her old friends as well as making new ones.
Ashlyn's always been family orientated, and now this extends to Becky, Carol, and John.
Ashlyn managed to show us something completely different. Oxford was also the place where she met the love of her life and where their story began.
Hola Angie, hola Benjamín. Bueno, queremos desearles lo mejor en esta fiesta y para toda la vida. Les mandamos un beso grande acá desde Argentina.
Saludos, felicidades.
Chao, suerte.
Felicidades en tu boda.
Ben, te casas con una persona muy especial. Lo mejor para el futuro.
Bueno, lo único que digo es que te quiero mucho y que espero que tengas, que seas muy feliz con la persona que encontraste.
Hola, Ashley, aquí te estamos mandando un saludo por tu casamiento. Esperamos que seas muy feliz, que la pases muy lindo y te mandamos desde Chile un lindo abrazo, un fuerte beso y ¡felicidades!
Se casa. Se casa. ¿Qué le decimos?
Hola chicos, les queremos desear la mejor suerte de todos en el casamiento.
beso grande, grande, grande.
Well, that was a pretty good way to start off the speeches. I think you'll all agree. That was something pretty special. But I have to warn you, if any of the other speeches go on that long, no matter how funny, you will be forcibly removed from the stage. I've been charged with running a very tight ship here tonight, so yeah. So moving on now, I'd like to introduce our second speaker of the night, the most important guy here, Mr. Ben White.
First of all, thank you, Adolfo, for those kind words. As I start these speeches, it might be worth a mention there's going to be a lot of toasts in this bit. And from what I've seen so far, you tables at the front, I was going to say the back, but definitely you guys, need to charge your glasses, but let's sip, not gulp. It's a marathon, not a sprint today. On behalf of my wife and I, I'd like to thank you all for being here today, in particular those of you who've travelled from Spain and from Argentina. Muchas gracias por hacer el viaje para estar aquí hoy. So before I started writing this speech, I did some research, and I found out the key to a good speech was to make sure it had a good beginning, a good ending, and most importantly of all, to make sure those two bits were close together. And especially given where we are on timing, I'll keep it going quickly. I do take bribes. I'd like to start by thanking Myrta and Adolfo, Ashlen's parents. You've taken me into your family, and you've always made me feel so welcome. As you mentioned earlier, you took me into your home for a year, and I couldn't have asked for anyone to be more warm. A year and 2 months. Still stealing all the jokes, even in my speech. But I'm going to thank you for always being so warm, welcoming, and hospitable. Myrta, you're an amazing cook. I don't think I've ever gone hungry in your company. And now I've met Mary, I've got no doubt as to where that comes from. Now, this bit Adolfo did steal directly, but as you may have noticed, our table name is Mystery, and he's organising a surprise honeymoon for us. So I'd like to say a big thank you, and I was going to say I hope I'm going to the same place as Ashlen, but I've stolen that one already. But I'm sure we'll both have an amazing time wherever we end up. But most of all, I'd like to thank you for raising such a beautiful, kind, and caring daughter, and for allowing me to make her my wife. And while we're on the subject of fantastic children, I'd like to say thank you to my parents for raising such a charming, handsome, and modest son. In all seriousness, though, thank you for everything you've done for me. You've always been there for me, and I know you've made Ashlen feel incredibly welcome in our family. You've been all over the country, driving me to countless low-level hockey matches and athletics meets, and some gymnastics. That was pretty bad. And I've always been able to rely on you for your unwavering support. I hope I can continue to make you as proud of me as I am of you. And we'd like to extend a special thank you to all four of you for your help in making today happen. It really wouldn't have happened without you. Between you, you have over 60 years of marriage, and we couldn't ask for better role models to look up to as we start our own marriage. So if you could all be upstanding, I'd like to raise a toast. To the parents.
Terence. Terence. Cheers.
Cheers.
When you stop making me cry.
Oh.
Cheers, you too.
And the grandparents. I'd like to say a few words about the bridesmaids. Yuli, Lydia, Lucy and Maddie. I'm sure everyone will agree when I say you all look beautiful tonight. You did a wonderful job. You got Ashlyn to the chapel on time, which was always a good start. Thank you for your hard work today and just in being there for Ashlyn over the years. I know she appreciates everything you've all done for her. I'd also like to say a thank you to my groomsmen, Alex, MJ, Ben, and my best man, Josh. You've all been there to support me over the years. Thanks to the Purple Turtle, Mayners, and of course Park End. That's more often than not been literal rather than metaphorical. Josh, I need to thank you in particular for both organising the stag do and then taking it upon yourself to make sure that it didn't finish without a good story. Seriously though, I couldn't ask for better friends, and I'm so happy to share this day with all of you. Josh, I just hope we're still friends in about 10 minutes' time. So if you could all be upstanding again, I'd like to raise a toast to the bridesmaids and groomsmen. Thank you also to our readers today, my uncle, Keith, and to Freddie. I'm sure you'll all agree they were both fantastic. We also need to thank two people in particular who've been vital in making this day happen. First of all, Ruth Laurie for creating the beautiful cake that you're all going to see out there in a minute. And to my sister Becky, who made the boxes you see on your table in front of you. She made the post box that's outside and loads of other decorations which are around this place. No one's quite sure where you got your creative side from, but I'm sure you'll all agree they look amazing, so thank you. And if anyone's got a wedding coming up, I'll put you in touch. Oh, sorry. Y por último, pero no menos importante, mi esposa. Hopefully, I just said and last but by no means least, my wife. But if I didn't, then apologies to anyone I've offended. Ashlyn and I first met through a chance encounter at university, and I think it would be fair to say it wasn't love at first sight. Despite my best efforts with videos of me triple jumping, who knew that wasn't the one? But through a combination of charm, persistence, Park End, and some fortunate timing, I got there in the end. And we haven't looked back since. It's been the most incredible 5 years, full of joy, laughter, new experiences, and most importantly, being able to share so many key moments in my life with my best friend. Today is just the start of many years of new adventures, new challenges, hopefully a few more competitive games of tennis, croquet, space hoppers, anything we can lay our hands on, to be honest. I want to take this opportunity today to say thank you for all the hard work you put into planning today. Today is the culmination of 18 months of hard work, some 25 years of planning. And I hope that today's turned out every bit as special as you imagined, even if we couldn't work out on get the weather to comply. And of course, thank you for not leaving me waiting at the altar. Today really couldn't have happened without you, so thank you. Finally, I don't think I need to say it because everybody knows it, but I'm going to anyway, that you look stunning today. I'll never forget watching you walk down that aisle. I've never met anyone as smart, funny, caring, driven as you. You light up every room that you walk into, and I feel incredibly lucky to be able to call you my wife. I can't wait for the many happy years we have ahead building a family together. And so for the last time tonight, could I ask you to raise your glasses to my beautiful wife? To Ashlyn.
Yeah, you're allowed. Okay,
Anyway, sorry, Andy, but that's probably enough from me. So I'm going to hand you back over to Alex and brace myself for what's about to come.
So that was beautiful. We'll move on to our third speech of the night. And as I've personally got some money coming my way from the street stakes as well, I'll move on quickly. The next speaker is going to be Yuli, one of the bridesmaids. So if you could put your hands together to welcome to the stage.
My dear Ashi, you spend your workdays in court defending alleged criminals. Tonight, you have some of your own crimes to answer to. And I thought we'd let your friends and family be the judge of those. So. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, Miss Ashlyn Denise Tunyan, Mrs. White, apologies, appears on the charge of having achieved all of her dreams. This crime was defended by the defendant in 3 counts, which I will deal with in turn. The first count was by securing a place to study law at one of the world's top universities. Ever since being a little girl, the defendant had dreamed of studying law at a famous university. Originally Harvard, though we won't mention that. Then Oxford. I refer you to Exhibit A1, which pictures the defendant red-handed at finishing her final examinations and on her graduation day. The second count in which the defendant achieved her dream was by being called to the bar in 2014 and securing a pupillage at Reed's Chambers as pictured by Exhibit A2. This, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, was not an easy task, and the defendant overcame many obstacles to nevertheless secure pupillage. Ashlyn stuck by her dream to become a criminal barrister, where many others would have given up. Just one example of her extreme determination and sense of justice. Not only has she made it as a barrister, but one witness also stumbled across an incredibly embarrassing internet presence which shows the defendant's exceptional skill. And she's also recently secured tenancy at her chambers, which again is not something that's self-evident. And her firm recognizes her exceptional talents and skills on its website. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I have never read a firm profile demonstrating such a glowing review of someone's aptitude for their job. Thirdly, ladies and gentlemen, the defendant has achieved her dream by becoming the beautiful bride that we see today. I refer you to Exhibit A3. Witnesses for the prosecution have stated that it was always Ashlyn's life plan to be engaged at 24 and married at 25. Finding the one, building a life together, exploring the world and making memories was always what the defendant wanted for herself. And today marks the culmination of her achieving this. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, the extreme determination and calculating manner in which the defendant set out to commit these crimes is underlined by who she is alongside. As evidenced by Exhibit A4, the defendant achieved her dreams while at the same time being extremely sporty, adventurous, a world traveler and a rugby varsity player, a fantastic friend, there for you in the good times and the bad, a loving daughter an integral family member for both the Tunyons and the Whites, and at the same time donating her time to causes she believes in and giving a voice for justice to those who don't have it themselves. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, the defendant did not achieve all of this alone. The defendant had an accomplice, the co-defendant, Mr. Benjamin John White. The defendant and the co-defendant met on a night out while studying together at Oxford. From that point forward, the co-defendant supported the defendant through the demanding last year of university. One witness remembers a particularly tough final examination after which the defendant was very upset. But luckily, the co-defendant met her outside schools, managing to give her the energy for the final stretch and to make it to graduation day, as evidenced by Exhibit B1. The defendant was called to the bar, see Exhibit B2, applied for pupillage, and started a brilliant career when her life plans were already strictly intertwined with those of the co-defendant. It seems self-evident that the co-defendant's encouragement and support coerced the defendant to commit these crimes. Finally, the act of marriage was, today, committed by the defendant and the co-defendant as equals. And many witnesses can attest to the fact that finding the co-defendant Ben made Aislinn's dream come true, as further evidenced by Exhibit B3. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I now move on to my recommendation for sentencing. Given the extreme severity of these crimes and the co-conspiracy between the defendant and the co-defendant, I submit that the only appropriate sentence is a life sentence for both the defendants to be executed together. My dear Ash, my dear Ben, thank you so much for letting me be part of your story so far. I've been there since night one. And for choosing me to be a part of your day today. I'm so honored. I'm so proud of what you've achieved by now and cannot wait to bear witness to your actions going forward together as partners in crime. Congratulations.
We're on track. Good. I think you'll agree that's quite a hat-trick of speeches we've just had there. And you know what that means. Coming up next, the one you've all been waiting for. Last but not least, Mr. Best Man, Josh.
So to start with, I just wanted to echo my thank yous to all the family and friends who've helped make this day so special. I know that without your help, none of this would have been possible, and I also know that Ben and Ash will be eternally grateful. For the Spanish speakers in the room, gracias por todo lo que has hecho para ayudar a tener esta boda tan especial. Después de lo que he visto hoy, estoy seguro que esto no será posible sin vosotros. Gracias. So before I go any further, I'd just like to introduce myself. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Josh, the best man. And unfortunately, that means I've got to give a speech. Now, I want to reassure you that even though it took me 5 months to write this speech, it will take me no more than 5 minutes to stumble through the words. Isn't that right, Ash? Now, I've only known Ben for 3 years, so needless to say, I was a little bit shocked when he asked me to be his best man. On reflection, I can think of 2 good reasons. The first, I'm the only one in the room who's shorter than him. And the second is that when I met him at 25, he thought that his best stories would be well out of my reach. How wrong you were. So despite Ben's best attempts to hide his surprisingly colourful past, it didn't take more than a simple WhatsApp chat and Facebook group before the story started to roll on in. Now this may come to shock you, but Ben is somewhat a competitive person. It turns out he developed this on early in his school days. The self-proclaimed Mr. Technique is ever eager to show off his prowess. Full of enthusiasm, it's safe to say that Ben's efforts didn't always end up as planned. Namely in football, despite endless passion, drive, and definitely looking the part, he invariably found himself conceding in the last minute. But then again, there's nothing a little Photoshop can't fix, is there, Whitey? A shot at redemption came in a fateful afternoon when Ben's then athletic coach needed a hand to demonstrate a perfect baton changeover. Never one to shy away from an opportunity to impress, Ben leapt at the chance. All went well. He executed a textbook pass before charging face first into a rugby post. Nice one. But things aren't all doom and gloom for Whitey, as the man most likely to succeed. He eventually left school for Oxford University, where he'd go on to meet the love of his life. And can I pause a moment there just to say how incredible she looked today? And can you please join me in a toast to the bride? Yeah. To the bride. So where were we? Ben certainly took university lifestyle by the horns, leaving not only with a degree, but having learned the traits befitting any great husband. First, commitment. Now, many of you would argue that you do not simply fall in love, but you commit to it. A skill Ben learned through his unfaltering and unwavering dedication to a Wednesday night in Park End. Next, integrity. Now, a good husband must live by a strong moral code. This provides the backbone of any marriage, much like hockey drinking laws, which Ben would often carry around with him and mercilessly impose on anyone, regardless of their sport. After all, ignorance does not excuse the law. Now, a key part of marriage is supporting each other, and there'll undoubtedly be times where a wife looks to her husband for courage. Perhaps that sort of courage can be found in one brave enough to attempt, albeit dramatically fail, the Oxford Punting Bridge Challenge, nearly killing Alex in the process, I might add. And most importantly, before a man can truly love a woman, he must first learn to love himself. And nowhere is that more evident than in Ben's prominent role in the 2011 Athletics Naked Calendar. Well done. Fast forward a few years, and I met Ben whilst working at Wellington College, the first time. By then, you could have been fooled into thinking his glory days were over. His competitive streak limited to a Friday night staff football, where performances are lacklustre at best. His drinking restricted to quiz night at Napoleon's retreat. His waist a little softer, his hairline. But then I met Ash. And having had the privilege of getting to know her relatively well for the past few years, it's easy to see why Ben fell for her. She's one of the most genuine people I know, warm, kind-hearted, fiercely talented, an incredibly beautiful person. I'm certain that I heard many a man's heart drop the second they heard the words I do today. No, as it turns out, Ben's glory days are not over. They have just begun. Now, while there may have been a hint at the Ben old at the stag, for which I would now formally request a funnel check. And I think it's safe to say we all had a smashing time. But jokes aside, Ash certainly seems to be a catalyst for good in Ben's life. Together, they're a formidable team. And though everyone knows I'm in no hurry to get down the aisle myself, when I do, I'm hoping to walk into a relationship as solid and as special as this one. They balance each other out, they're supportive, they're independent, and they're devoted to each other. They bring out the best in each other, but more importantly, they're a couple who together invite joy into the hearts of everyone around them. Now, to finish, it's customary to leave the bride and groom with some parting words of wisdom. Given that I have no experience at marriage, I turned to John, the groom's father, for some words of advice, to which he responded with the following. Marriage is a partnership. Work through things together, and most certainly reap the rewards together. And can we please all stand for one last toast to the bride and groom? To the bride and groom, everybody.